Hey everybody, welcome back to Aplastic Anemia Media. My name is Mark, and in my video today, I have some really exciting news to share and a health update. And just want to give a little drum roll, please. I'm finally getting a bone marrow transplant. Well, that was a total failure. And I made a huge mess everywhere, so that's great. Hopefully the transplant is about as uneventful as that celebration right there. That was just a complete waste of money. Anyway, I am so excited to finally get this thing done. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. My doctors feel really good about my prognosis going into it. But I'm also pretty nervous. It's a bone marrow transplant, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure that my head is in a really good space, and I want to thank my family and my friends for helping me keep a positive attitude and to make me feel hopeful. And like I was saying earlier, my doctors think I'm a really great candidate for this, and they think that I'm going to go through this with flying colors. Now, I will be receiving what's called an allogenic bone marrow transplant at Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, Florida in late January. That date could change to early February or maybe a little bit later on. There's a lot of things that happen logistically that could end up delaying it, and I'm going to get into that right now. So as it stands right now, I have 90 matches on the bone marrow registry, which is like hitting the Powerball 4 weeks in a row. It's a lot of people, and I am insanely lucky to have that many. What the doctors do is to dwindle down who's the best matches out of those matches. They look at 3 criteria, and that is age, sex, and blood type. And yes, to answer your question, you don't have to have the same blood type as somebody to match them on the bone marrow registry. It's kind of crazy. So out of those 90 matches, my doctors have gotten down to 3 people who they believe are the best matches for me. And out of those 3 matches, we only need one of them to say yes to the donation. So in the meantime, I have to undergo a whole lot of testing, which you can see here on your screen. If you'd like to pause it and see all the testing that I have to get done, please feel free. One of the more important tests I have to undergo is what's called a bone marrow biopsy, where doctors stick a giant needle into my lower back and extract a little piece of bone marrow. And what that will show them is a broader picture of what's going on in my body. You can almost think of it like a blood draw that gives you a whole lot more detail. Except a bone marrow biopsy is a heck of a lot more painful than a blood draw, so thankfully they knocked me out for the procedure. This is what a bone marrow biopsy looks like afterwards. I'm very tired. The procedure is only about 15 minutes long, but I feel good. Felt like I had a really good rest, and this will give a lot more detail as to what's going on in my body. So what is a bone marrow transplant like? Well, I plan to make a more detailed video about this later on, but I'm going to briefly explain what will happen as I'm undergoing the procedure. So I will be inpatient at Moffitt for 3 to maybe 8 weeks. It all depends on how well my body responds to it. The first week at Moffitt, I will be receiving chemotherapy every single day. I believe it is between 7 to 8 days I will be receiving chemo. And on the last day of chemo is when I will receive the transplant itself. The transplant is actually a relatively easy process. It's no different than receiving a blood transfusion or platelet transfusion. So after I receive the transplant, we have to wait for my body to engraft or accept the transplant, and that can take 2 weeks, it can take 2 months, but in all likelihood it'll take between 2 to 4 weeks. So after my body accepts the transplant, I will likely be able to go home and get discharged a couple of days after engraftment, and from there I will recover at my house until the 100-day mark after my transplant. The 100-day mark is a very important milestone in the transplant process because there is a very high likelihood that your body keeps the engraftment and that you will likely not need another transplant in the future. So as of right now, I'm just enjoying my time before I have to stay in a hospital room for several weeks and maybe up to several months. And I'm just so thankful that I have such a great family and set of friends who really look after me. And I hope that I'm making you guys proud. And I love you all so very much. As for the future of this channel, I do plan to thoroughly document my transplant journey, so there will be more videos coming up. I don't know how often I'll post. Again, I am very much an amateur as a filmmaker and as a film editor, so please bear with me. But thank you guys so much for clicking on this video, watching it, and hopefully you're learning a whole lot about this process. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to email me at aplasticanemiamedia@gmail.com. And as always, if you're looking to help, please sign up for the bone marrow registry or consider donating your blood, as it goes a really long way, especially during the holiday time when so many hospitals can have critical shortages in their blood and platelet departments. Thank you so much again, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Bye.